Maybe movies.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd think with everything that we've done so far, this would be easy.
You'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We believe in unconventional greetings. Welcome back. We are on Friday, a third of the way through the down.
The down.
And we don't know whether the fall from grace is solely reserved for Nicholas Van Orton or whether that applies to...
yeah, it's going to be fun. Fun?
He's doing it again. He's got this amazing thing of just being able to make fun sound like a question. Brilliant. Welcome back, and we are Maybe Movies. My name's Max.
I am Sam.
And we do Despicable Things with Much Love films.
Despicable things. Despicable.
In this month, if you haven't seen our show so far, we are looking at The Game and Falling Down, two great films with Michael Douglas. We are in the middle of giving Nicholas Van Orton a really bad day. That's nothing to do with CRS.
Not this time.
No. As a quick reminder, as we've been saying in every episode, and you'll probably see there are spoiler alert notices up on each of these because we don't want to ruin the game for you, so please do go and check it out before watching us here. And before we look at Act 2, our shout out today is going to be for another one of our recent subscribers.
Oh, yes.
So I think the channel is just called Darker Stories.
Darker Stories?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's by a guy called Nick Lay.
Okay.
And it's another audio horror channel, predominantly. But he takes a more kind of holistic approach to it, coming up with sort of mood-fitting sort of imagery and video imagery, not just stills.
Oh, okay, right.
As well as, I don't know if there might be some subsonics in there, but those kind of weird auditorial things in the background as well.
Oh, a bit of soundscaping.
That's it, yes. Which is very good, very interesting. Most of this seems to be predominantly his own work.
Oh, okay. All right, nice.
In terms of the stories themselves. And they're all pretty short. Like most of the videos I saw are like about 10-15 minutes.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So do give it a look. And as I always say, check the description for the link. Hope you're all right, buddy. And again, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
I seem to remember we'd left this. Nicholas Van Orton has had a bit of a strange day. He just put Christine in a cab off home and had got back to his hotel room to find it looked like the devil had been having a party in there.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Or possibly Charlie Sheen.
Nicholas, paranoid, freaked out, is followed.
So you're talking about the private detective?
Yes.
Which I would like to point out, the cast of Sons of Anarchy are quite well represented in this film. Because the guy who was the private detective is Bobby in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, okay.
And then the guy who's the taxi driver is, and I can never remember his character's name, is the Irish guy who's in Sons of Anarchy with...
Yes, yeah, that guy from Braveheart. Yeah.
And Gladiator. He's in Gladiator as well.
Of course he is, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yes, I like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Because there's another blind alley. And again, is he following him because he's been set on him by Bear?
Exactly.
Has he not? Is this something else?
Indeed.
Oh, very nice.
Of course, this means now Nicholas has a pistol in his possession.
So where are we dropping him into this? Because is this going to be the next day? Because we need to resolve then what happens. So he does... Are we saying that he does exactly the same as what he does in the original film? Which is he tries to flush the evidence, the toilet overflows, and he just leaves.
Well, the room would be messy, but he cleared up the cocaine, he took away the photographs, he took away the porn. So all of the really incriminating stuff he did take with him.
He grabs most of them in the thing, but there's still... Because doesn't he...
No, it shows him putting them all in the suitcase.
But the drugs and stuff are in the sink. He cuts his hand.
Yes.
He then goes to the toilet starts to overflow, and then he goes and grabs the stuff and leaves. So the drugs and stuff are still in the sink.
In the sink with running water.
It's just because I didn't see it in the film. You didn't see what he does with the crack pipe and all those kind of things and the little bottles. We don't actually see him remove those.
Right. It's
Are we going to say...
absurd to think that he wouldn't.
Fair enough. It's like because there's all his monographed shirts are all in there, and he just leaves with the running water, which they're going to discover.
Yeah.
Unless TRS they are there to clean up the mess behind him.
Yes.
Which in this case they're not.
They're not. No.
Or is there a foil for that? Are we saying that Bear's people will go and clean up the mess? Or are we saying that's again beyond his reach?
Well, I don't even know if he'd want to. He's
trying to ruin him, so that's fine.
He'd want to, would he?
But that would work just as well, because if he does just quit it and try and get out of there, they're going to contact the police.
Yes.
So we want that. Yes, of course,
we do. Yeah.
Okay, so he leaves. Obviously, I take it he's arranged for another car because he wants to get back to San Francisco. So are we saying that the story is now going to shift back to San Francisco, or are we keeping him in LA?
That's a really good question. I feel like we can't...
We could keep him in LA by saying that he gets another car, and it's while he's being driven back to the airport that he spots the private investigator following him.
Yes. I think he does need to go back to San Francisco, because otherwise things start to fall apart later on.
Okay. We're saying that he goes back to San Francisco, and then it's when he gets back that he's followed?
I don't know. It could be either, but it makes more sense for it to be San Francisco, because otherwise he's just taken a pistol from someone and is planning on getting on a plane. So if it's when he gets back to San Francisco, that's not a problem. When he takes the pistol away, because he doesn't have to travel.
I mean, I wasn't sure whether we wanted to strand him in some random part of LA with a gun, and then follow the story from that point. Which also would make sense because Christine is in LA. I mean, obviously, there's no reason why we can't just have Bear send her to San Francisco. But it keeps the action more immediate if we keep him where he is.
You're right. You're right. It just means we lose the bit with his house being made over.
For now, we could just feed it in later.
Okay.
Because again, I'm not saying that we
just like relocate it within the plot sort of thing.
Either that, or we just cheat the length of time that he spends in LA. We can continue some of the action here. There's no reason why we can't. It would be a nice twist. Because it looks like because if you're sitting there watching the film and it's like, alright, so they're going to give him this really bad day. He's out of his element. He's out of his thing. And then at a later point that would not be in the normal narrative structure for him to return home, we can then put that in there.
Okay.
And then continue the fuckery when he gets back home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That works.
Are we saying that this time when he hires a car, he's going to drive himself because he doesn't want to get stranded again?
Yes.
Which is why he can then pull over and...
That's what I was thinking, because he does need to be driving his own car, otherwise the following thing doesn't really work.
Yeah. So he gets this guy turns up, he do the same thing, he fires the gun, guy shoots off, and he gets back in his car.
The next scene is when he goes to confront Bear at the hotel.
Oh, of course.
So we don't need to strand him too hard, because otherwise he can't go and confront Bear.
No, absolutely. His lawyer will not be there, or will he have called him and said, come and meet him?
It's not that far, it's only a couple of hours down the coast.
Yeah. I know, because I've done it. It's, by Greyhound, it's 7.5 hours. And it's 350 miles.
And the lawyer's going to be flying, so it's going to take an hour. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or a couple of hours, obviously, getting onto the flight and all that, but a couple of hours he could be there.
As he's going into the hotel room.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's on the phone, and then that's what causes him to go, I'll call you back. But yeah, he's already said to him, get on the red eye, meet me, and we're going to...
Yeah. Yes, that works. So he can turn up later when we need him.
Yeah. Brilliant. So we get that scene with Bear, and Bear's like, what? Now, so the question is now, has he accepted the deal, or hasn't he? And is he literally just doing this just to, this is my retirement, fuck you.
You've got a good point. If he's already signed the papers, it gets a bit awkward, doesn't it? Like, if he's fighting him, how is he fighting him if he's signed the papers? The
fact that he was fired. It could just simply be, again, if you're making him the big bad evil guy, it's a wound to his pride. And he's doing it simply to get revenge.
So he has signed the papers, but he's still getting his revenge.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, again,
it does cover his ass. It does cover his ass because it kind of gives him an alibi.
Yeah.
So I suppose we need it to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So that scene is going to more or less play out that way, isn't it?
And that's why that scene works so well. Just a fraction of an inch, one way or the other, in the way that in his performance. And there is that kind of "I've got your fact, mate."
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah.
It's like it's beautiful and it works so well. And again, in our new version, it works even better because, as we know, at the end we are going to be going down almost down the usual suspects kind of route.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So yeah, that scene needs to play out more or less as it does in the original film to maintain the deception.
Yes, and then it's after that he storms out.
He storms out. He goes back to his office, and that's when he discovers the handle in his briefcase.
That's right.
And then he goes home and finds the housemaid over, and then Conrad. These are all awkward. These are all awkward. I mean, all right. So we've got the suitcase and the handle. Presumably, the handle is missing from this scenario.
Yes.
So it's just the suitcase. Obviously, he doesn't go home. Or does he? Does he go home? Is this when he goes home?
Yeah, this will be the evening that he goes home and he finds the house has been made over. So what we can then replace those scenes with, so we don't have the handle, we have just some very short scenes of a kind of return to status quo.
Okay.
Just to lull him into a false sense of security and to lull the audience into a false sense of security that everything seems fine now.
Okay, yeah.
And then he goes home and finds
the house completely wrecked.
Yes. Yeah. And in the back of my head, I must admit, as soon as the music started, my head was saying, "Do you want me to throw this in the tub when White Rabbit peaks?"
All right, okay, so yes, right, so montage, it goes home, the house has been trashed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the story, this is when Conrad turns up, which I kind of, maybe somebody's been following Conrad.
Quite possibly, and because of his history, his implied drug history, his heightened paranoia.
They're out to get me. So presumably he still finds something in the glove box, but not keys. So obviously that doesn't make sense. So what is it?
No.
No?
No.
No.
I was going to say, he finds the gun, but no, he can't find the gun. He would have had to have ditched that in LA before he came back.
Yes, that was my first thought, but he can't because he'll have travelled by air.
So it'll have to be something that's been placed in his car.
Yeah.
So let's work with first of all on what Conrad thinks is going on. He thinks somebody's following him. He thinks it's some.
It's a glove box full of pictures of Conrad, like from the point of view of the person who's been following them the whole time.
Oh no!
I think it's over there.
Sorry, I've got some over here.
It'll be pictures of Conrad from the surveillance point of view. Thank you. I'll take that. Good star.
Okay, that works.
So Conrad freaks out and runs away. So we've got that bit.
So the next bit is
the taxi.
Is the taxi. I mean, we can keep that in.
Yes.
And he's just been hired by Bear to take him out once and for all.
Or
to shit him up.
Yeah.
Because, technically speaking, I mean, even if he didn't have the handle, he can still get out of that situation pretty easily.
Yes.
Because you just have to wait for the cab to fill up with water.
Yeah, and then
the pressure equals, and then you just open the door.
Yeah.
Which, if you've never seen it, do go and look up a thing that Dave Allen did when he was still just a journalist before he became a comedian.
Oh.
And he was doing a show in Australia in the 70s. And somebody was on there, because there had been, in the news about that time, there'd been an accident, somebody had gone off the road and they'd not been able to get out. Uh-huh. And they were talking to an expert, and he was saying, well, actually, blah, 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 blah. If you just wait for the car to fill up with water, it equalises the pressure and you can open the door. And so Dave Allen went, well, just because we want to show people that this is a true thing, we're going to test it. And they had a massive indoor, swimming paddling pool set up with a car on it, and they got in the car.
Oh, whoa.
And dropped it into the water and filmed them and just said, yep, and they got out fine.
Oh, wow. I mean, I knew that was a thing, but I didn't know anybody had ever actually tested it. So he goes into the bay.
Do you know what we could do here? As just, again, it's one of those things, and it will be blink and you'll miss it, on the wing mirror. Mm-hmm. You know, people kind of hang trinkets and stuff off the wing mirror.
Yeah. Just
in amongst the little trinkets, there's the Bear Books logo. Just a little thing there.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's so subtle on the where it's embossed on his window in his office, but it's quite a distinctive logo when you stop and look at it. It's quite nice.
Oh, nice. Yes, that would be a nice little touch.
Yeah.
To add to the layers of paranoia as well. And then he goes to the cops. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we don't have the scene with CRS being gone, but we do have the scene with the look. We don't really have much here. We're going to try and find evidence that what you say happened, but at the moment there's not a lot.
We play it a different way and say that he doesn't go to the cops before he gets a chance to call them. Gets a call from his secretary. The police want to speak to him, something to do with his hotel room in LA. So he can't go to the cops.
Okay.
If we're saying that he left some of the stuff in the hotel room, the floor was overflowing, they would have the staff would have had to have broken into the hotel room, they would have found something.
Okay.
Or are we just saying that he cleaned up all of the incriminating stuff before he left? But there is still the question of the damage to the room, because the toilet was clearly blocked for it to overflow into the room.
Yeah. Gosh.
But I suppose that's a civil matter, isn't it? It's not a criminal matter.
It's not a criminal matter trashing a hotel room. I mean, there's a bill involved, but it's usually a civil matter.
Okay.
Unless he actually left something incriminating, like the evidence of a crime in the room.
We're working on the premise that he grabbed anything that was overtly illegal. In which case, then, it could just be that they've got nothing to go on. You can't tell us who's doing this to you.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have the scene with them going to CRS, but we would have the scene with them going, look, we haven't got anything that we can actually follow up on. We'll dredge the bay for your so-called taxi, but until we see it, we've got no evidence of a crime.
Mm-hmm. So this is where in the film he would have gone to Christine.
He has that bit, then he has a conversation with Ilsa about his father, and then he goes to see Christine.
So do we take him back to LA?
It works, because after this he goes to Mexico anyway.
Yeah. So it was either that or we contrive her being in San Francisco, but it makes more sense that he goes to her.
Yes.
The only sticking point we've got in that is that he doesn't know what taxi company it is, unless we say that the guy gave him hey, we're a new taxi company. If you're in LA, use us again.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So at least he's got a way of finding out where they were.
Where they were, yeah, exactly.
Okay. And are we saying then from this point till the end of the act, it plays out the same way?
Yeah, I think so.
Bear's got all of this retirement money now. He's just like, okay, we can hire some mercs to go and take him out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she's been in it all along, and he is literally going to put him through the ringer and take him for everything he's got.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Evil genius time. Yeah, it's all true. Yeah, the rest of the act does play out pretty much as is. Oh, look at that! We made it to the end of a second act! Hey! What do you think, guys?
It's really weird. Sometimes it does kind of go the stuff where we haven't actually bothered to make some detailed notes about how we think something should go generally tend to work better than when we do.
Yes, it is frightening.
So that is the thing to remember about things. 90% of what we do here is spontaneous. We don't, we make notes, but we don't script anything.
Yes, no, we don't. We just we deal with it in the moment.
Yes, and unlike G4, we don't have a team of writers doing this for us.
Yeah. Cheeky people. Well then, yes.
So we are set, ready to go into Act 3 of The Down, which will be coming your way next Wednesday. Again, as always, please let us know what you think in the comments below. If there's anything that you think that we missed or that you would do differently, please do tell us, because we'd love to know and we'd love to read them out and say there are people out there.
There are people watching. Yes, please do. Let us know what you think.
Until next week, as always, have a great weekend and have a great start to next week. Take care.
As always, guys, DTFN.
Ba 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 ba.